has some folks from the Salvation Army. I love Salvation Army.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
That's
my
awesome.
goodness. I'm such a fan. Jeff, you can do the honors and introduce your guest.
Well, here with me today is Hugh Jones. He's our executive director of the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club. It's a little gem in Richmond's Churchill neighborhood. We've been there for years and years, and every day we change the life of youth in Richmond. So I'm glad Hugh came out with me today to chat with you, Kat.
Me too. Welcome, Mr. Jones.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
Or should I call you Hugh?
That'll be fine.
Well, tell me what's going on. Camp is already started or getting ready to?
Well, it's getting ready to start. Actually, June 22nd, we're going to kick off. But summertime is a great time for us. The kids are letting their hair down. It's hot outside.
Yeah.
So we have many, many programs for them, activities, and we're excited about it.
Well, tell me how we can help to get them, to help keep this going.
Well, of course, getting the word out as far as our camp. Just like Jeff mentioned, it's a hidden jewel. We've been there in this particular facility for 40 years.
Wow.
It's an amazing facility, Olympic-sized swimming pool, gymnasium, computer lab, games room, and we call it a cool camp, summer cool camp, acronym, creative opportunities of learning. So we're going to sneak some learning in there as well, which is really great. We have, this year, we're going to have Baby Think It Over, relationship skills. As far as that particular program, we're going to have Passport to Manhood, teaching young guys how to be boys to men. And we're also going to do some other things as far as life skills, back to basics. And like I said, do some fun things, incorporate it with a lot of fun.
Oh, I love that. Now, where's it located?
3701 R Street. It's in Churchill, Richmond.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I saw a video that looked like so much fun. I put it up on my website, actually. It was like, wow, I want to go. It looked like a really good thing to do. Now, how do the young folks out there get to come to camp? What do they do?
Well, it's just a matter of filling out an application. The parents come in. We have a three-prong approach this summer. We actually have a summer day camp, and that's from ages 11 and under, 11 to 6, I should say. The hours are from 7:30 to 5 o'clock. Wow. Then we have a teen leadership camp, and that's from ages 12 to 14, a tremendous program for teenagers to keep them occupied, learning leadership skills, community service projects, have guest speakers coming in, doing a lot of fun activities and traveling, stuff like that.
Wow.
And then we have some specialized camps, like the Richmond Kickers are coming in to do a camp in August.
Wow.
And we also have a music camp, a Salvation Army music program. And then our third prong is the Camp Happy Land. We're going to get them off the hot pavement, and we're going to send them away to camp for 1 week in July. And they're going to actually go to Camp Happy Land in Richardsville, Virginia, which is right outside of Fredericksburg.
Now, what happens at Camp Happy Land?
Camp Happy Land is where you go and you spend the night, and the parents get a break for a week, and the kids get a break for a week from the parents, and they actually have a wonderful time swimming, canoeing, you name it, bungee jumping, trampolines, fishing. They really get to enjoy the great outdoors in a nice facility. Salvation Army camps are wonderful. Accredited, beautiful camp, beautiful facility. And they have a great time, a lot of devotions, a spiritual experience, as well as nice fun and practical things they learn, archery, a lot of things like that. So
That sounds great. I want to go.
You can come.
Jeff, can we go?
I'd love to go.
Jeff,
Kat, you and I will go up there and we'll crash for a week. We won't tell them we're coming, though.
Yeah, it's like, surprise, we're here. So anybody can come to camp.
Well, like I said,
meets that criteria.
Absolutely, ages 6 to 12 for the camp.
Okay.
Camp Happy Land. But like I said, for the summer day camp at the Boys and Girls Club, 6 to 14.
Okay.
And then we have different programs like Junior Counselor Program that's already started, which actually teaches young people on-the-job training skills. They're actually working with us this summer. So we have a lot of things going on. It's like I said, it's a great time in the summer.
Now, what about cost?
Well, believe it or not, this year, it's one of the best deals in town. Actually, it's $15 membership fee, and it's $100 per 2-week session. So we have 4 sessions, and like I said, it's $100 per 2 weeks. So it averages out like $50 a week.
Wow, that is great. That
really
is
great.
great. And this is great for the kids. I think this would be perfect. Something going on all the time, and you've been there a long time. You all have tried everything and know what works, right?
Well, with young people, you have to stay on the cutting edge. So that's why we always try to incorporate new things. And I'm excited about the Kickers being there this year.
Oh, that's
great.
great.
Collaboration with them. And our music program has really been growing. A lot of things that they're cutting out in the schools, we can really spend some time in the summertime developing it. So that's what we're trying to do.
I am so glad to hear that. Now, the music, will you be providing instruments, or do the kids bring their own? Or?
Well, we have instruments in our music program. We have the guitar. We have keyboard lessons, and we have what we call the buckets.
Oh, yes.
Before you graduate to the drum set, you do the buckets. So So that's what we're doing this summer.
I think that's great because you're right. And it's sad that a lot of things are being cut in schools. So I'm glad to see that the slack's being picked up in other ways. Now, what about volunteers? Do you need volunteers?
Oh, we definitely need volunteers. This is a crucial time for us at the Salvation Army as well as other nonprofits. So we really rely on the volunteers coming in, and you can get involved that way. So many things they can be plugged in to do as far as their own talents and skills, or just helping out in different ways, whether it's in the kids' cafe, the kitchen, where they get hot meals or whatever. But many, many opportunities.
So you guys cook too?
Absolutely. We serve meals.
Oh, I love that.
Meals, yes.
Okay, now what's your website? What's the best way to get up with you if you want to volunteer, find out more, find out how to apply?
There's a couple ways. I mean, we have a website. It's richmondsalvationarmy.org. You can also find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, and we also have a Twitter account. So if you have Twitter, you can find us under Rich Sal Army. You can find us on Facebook if you just do a search for Richmond Salvation Army.
Right.
And one of the things, as Hugh pointed out, I mean, we are extremely low cost.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, it's a hidden gem. It's the best deal in town. But one of the things that this time of year we always need, obviously, for us to keep our costs low for the families who are in need of summer camp programs, is if folks are out there and they want to make a financial contribution to camp, every dollar helps, and every dollar really does brighten the summer for a child. I mean, if folks go and visit your website, Kat, they can see that video that you're hosting for us, and I appreciate that. And it's also on our website as well as Facebook too, and you can actually hear the kids talk about what camp means to them. Hugh and I could talk to you guys for hours about what we think camp means, but to hear it come from these kids about how camp really does make a difference in their life. And without folks out there volunteering or donating their hard-earned money to help us put these kids through camp and keep it low cost, we wouldn't be able to do it. So
right.
If you visit our website, you can make a contribution. You can find out how to send your kids to camp. You can find out how to volunteer. You can find out about the Boys and Girls Club programs during the school year as well. It's all available at richmondsalvationarmy.org.
I think that's great because, I mean, really, there's a lot of time on your hands in the summer, and parents got to work. More than ever, if you got a job, you need to be at it. And, that way you're not going to be worried about your kids. And They're going to be getting, great educational tools and fun stuff the whole time.
Absolutely. It's a safe environment.
Now, how long have you been there?
I've actually been there 18 years.
Wow.
I know that's amazing, but I am actually an alumni of the Boys Club. So this is second nature to me. And it's been a real blessing to me. Like I said, the summertime is really special because you can really bond with the young people.
Sure.
Normally during the school year, we do the power hour, homework help, and different things like that, and small group clubs. But in the summertime, you can have a whole day
and
to do some things with them. And like I said, a lot of fun as well as learning incorporated. So
it makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Well, I can tell you're pumped up, and it's going to be a great summer, so we want to encourage everybody to come to camp, to volunteer, or to donate, to keep this going.
Absolutely.
And it feels like summer out there right now. So.
Oh, yes.
We do have air conditioning.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that. Yeah, if you need it, you get AC, too. At no extra cost, right? Oh, my goodness.
That's right.
So that's wonderful. Now, I wanted to talk to Jeff, too, about, I know that, our thoughts have been on a lot of folks going through so many disasters. It's been one after another. It's the tornadoes and more tornadoes and floods. What can we do to help? Well, the easiest way to help, Kat, is to make a financial contribution to the Salvation Army. And obviously, nationally we're involved at all the disaster scenes. And, we're in Joplin. We're still in Tuscaloosa. We're still in Jackson, Mississippi. We're in Springfield, Massachusetts. Now, Massachusetts had a tornado that did some serious damage. I think it killed 4 people is the latest I've heard. That's it's unbelievable to think that, Springfield, Massachusetts can have a tornado where it's, kind of pulling all the disaster agencies together to help them as well. And some of the folks in Joplin, it's going to take years and years and years to recover. And one of the great things about the Salvation Army that we offer, obviously, besides, the hot meal and the, in the shower and the cleanup kits, is being a Christian organization. We can offer that spiritual guidance. And, let's face it, there's a lot of folks out there when a disaster like that strikes their town. And sometimes that's all they really need, is that to meet with an officer of the Salvation Army and, and be able to say a prayer and, really make it through the day, day by day. And the Salvation Army, we're there.
in Tuscaloosa, I mean, one of the buildings that was destroyed was the Salvation Army Church. So we're right there in these communities. We're not coming in from outside. I mean, we are there on the ground. Our area commander, Captain David Worthy, actually spent about 3 weeks in Jackson, Mississippi as one of the incident commanders for the Salvation Army, helping to organize the transportation of goods and food and things like that to folks on the ground who lost everything in some of these tornadoes. So the easiest way is to donate. You can call 1-800-SAL-ARMY. That's 1-800-SAL-ARMY. You can visit salvationarmyusa.org. You can visit our website, richmondsalvationarmy.org. You can actually write a check and send it to us at the Salvation Army here in Richmond. And there's actually disaster funds that are set up. And all the money that's sent for disasters, if you put on the memo line of the check, if you want it to go to Joplin, that's where it'll go. If you want it to go to Tuscaloosa, that's where it'll go. If you want it to go to Springfield, that's where it'll go. Or if you just make a general disaster donation, it'll go into that disaster fund and be used where it's most needed. And let's face it, the needs are great in these communities. I just saw a report, FEMA released a statement today in Tuscaloosa alone. I think it was something like 54 cubic tons of disaster trash from people's homes, and I mean it's really hard to grasp what that is. I mean, these towns have just been flattened and devastated, and Salvation Army, we're there, we're feeding them, we're doing everything we can, and financial support is important. We kindly ask folks, we can't unfortunately accept in-kind donations. We've taken some calls over the last couple of weeks of folks who want to donate blankets and clothing, and while we appreciate their efforts, logistically it's just really hard for the Salvation Army here in Richmond, or Salvation Army anywhere for that matter, to accept a large donation of bedding or clothing or food and transport it from our location to where the needs are. So the best way is to make that financial contribution, and it can be $5, it can be $5,000, whatever you can give is really going to change the lives of these folks who lost everything.
Now, I know I've had several people say, they wish they could go help clean up. I mean, if you want to volunteer, you need to go through you guys too. I mean, maybe become a volunteer and get trained, right? I
mean, the easiest way, obviously we can't send you right away. I mean, the easiest way to get involved with disasters, though, is to contact the Salvation Army. We have a local disaster team.
Right.
And these are trained individuals, trained volunteers, and not even just training on like safe serve, which obviously is important, but, a lot of times you go to a disaster site like this and you'd be surprised what you're going to see. So there's some training spiritually, too, to be prepared to go to a disaster scene and really see devastation that you may never see again. And so the folks that are on our disaster team, some of these individuals have been doing it for years and years and years. We have one couple, they're in their 70s and 80s now, and they've been part of the Salvation Army disaster team, for 30 plus years. I mean, and they've really given their lives to the Salvation Army disaster efforts. So we encourage folks to give us a call, and we'll get you enrolled in our disaster program. You go through some of the trainings and can become a volunteer, and we do some stuff locally too.
Sure.
Luckily, knock on wood, we haven't faced the type of disaster here in Richmond that some of these communities across the country have. But our folks have gone to things like Hurricane Katrina. They've gone to some flooding. They've been involved with Tropical Storm Gaston when that came through here. So there's opportunities locally and nationally through the Salvation Army if you become a disaster volunteer.
Well, I know that one thing I've always been impressed by is that you guys are there. I mean, you're already in these areas. You know what the needs are, and the fact that you do offer them prayer and faith, because I don't know how anybody would get through it. I mean, I look at what I see on TV, and I'm like, I sometimes can't even watch it because it's like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. So if you don't have some faith, I don't know what's going to get you through.
And we're blessed here in Richmond. I mean, our area commander, Captain David Worthy.
Yeah, he's great.
His background is in disaster services. When some of those tornadoes came through, he was actually in Orlando at a National Salvation Army conference, and he received a call from our divisional headquarters in D.C. Requesting him. I mean, he's one of the few officers that from a national level was requested to be on site. So he was immediately got back on a plane, flew back to Richmond, and left the next morning for Jackson, Mississippi. So to have that talent that we have with Captain David here locally, if you become a disaster volunteer and get a chance to work with him, I mean, he's pretty remarkable on what he can do at a disaster scene and his abilities and his skill set with disasters. So we're blessed to have him. We're blessed to have the supporters that we have who want to give, when a disaster strikes. It's unfortunate, but sometimes that's the nature of the world. I mean, things are going to continue to happen. And the great thing about the disaster funds that the Salvation Army sets up, that money stays in that disaster fund. So let's say we finished with Tuscaloosa and Joplin and Springfield, which is going to take years,
right.
And there's money left in that fund. It'll stay in a disaster fund.
Wow.
So the next time a disaster strikes, we can draw down on that money, whether it's in Richmond, if it was in Long Beach, California, it doesn't matter. It's in that disaster fund. So that's the great thing about what the Salvation Army is able to do with disaster money.
Well, it just happened, like it just kept happening everywhere. It was like, how can these poor people take any more?
We've just entered hurricane season too.
Yeah.
So we can't forget that either. In the Salvation Army, we're going to be there when the hurricanes strike, if they do.
Oh, sure.
And we're already in those communities, more than likely on the Gulf Coast, and so we're there and we're prepared and we're ready.
Well, I know y'all were celebrating Donut Day. Thank you for the donuts.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And it was so interesting to me. I got into the history of it. You know how I am. And I went way back and found out how the donut thing started and the original recipe for the donuts. I mean, I had no idea that all came from Salvation Army.
And I think that's something that not a lot of folks know. I mean, I think the older generation who were involved with World War II, obviously some of the men that went overseas. I mean, we hear stories all the time about folks who give money at the Red Kettles because we were there for them during World War II.
Right.
The lasties overseas that were able to feed them donuts.
Uh-huh.
So I think to bring that and continue that history, I think a lot of people, when they were thinking about National Donut Day, they thought it was something created by some donut company somewhere, but it's actually something that the Salvation Army started in Chicago.
Yes.
And it's we've continued
Long time
it every
ago.
year.
I was like amazed. I had no idea. I thought I knew about food. I didn't know anything about it, so I was like impressed.
And did you try the original Salvation Army recipe for donuts?
I'm going to.
If you make them at home, I'm telling you, they're some of the best. It's one of the best donut recipes.
I printed it off.
There.
I printed it off. I've got it actually.
We actually had some last year. We had an event and we had prepared some original Salvation Army donuts, and I mean we ran out. Remember that, Hugh? We ran out of them. It was at our event called the Commander's Ball, which was celebrating our 125-year history here in Richmond. And they were going like they were going. I mean, it was we couldn't keep the plates filled with those. People wanted that instead of the dinner.
Hey, there's a fundraising idea. There's a fundraising idea. Maybe we can raise some money selling these donuts. Hey, we'll have to talk, Hugh. Maybe we can do some summer camp cooking. And then we'll carry that on into the holidays, and we'll decorate them for the holidays. What do you think, Jeff?
Maybe that could be the secret ingredient for your lunch cafe, your Cat's Cafe that you do.
We're going to have to talk. We're going to have to make some money, yeah.
That'd be great.
Well, I want to thank you both. There's so many ways you can help. You can get involved. Come to summer camp, help out with the Salvation Army and the rescue and the great works that you all continue to do. Now, other than the camp, is there something right around the corner, Jeff, we need to know about that's coming up in the area? Is there anything else? Are we going to just go through the summer with that and try to get
there's
some
always things going on
care?
at the Salvation Army. We're always in need of volunteers and support. We continue to see an increase in demand for services. It's unfortunate. I mean, everyone just saw the reports earlier this week about are we going to enter a double dip recession and whatnot. And I mean, obviously, we hope that doesn't happen. But our clients, to them, they don't really care if we're in a double dip recession or not because they're struggling every day.
Oh, sure.
Our demand for food is up. So if folks want to donate non-perishable food items, you can call the Salvation Army. We can set that up where you can do a food drive, and we'll actually do a food appeal this summer. And then if you do enough studies online, I mean, the stats prove that in the summertime, the need for food actually goes up.
Yes.
Which a lot of people don't really understand, but it's obviously because kids are home.
Sure.
And that's a great thing about our camp is we're feeding these kids too.
Yes.
So, they're going to get their nutritious meals as well. But there's a lot of kids out there, and there's a lot of single moms and single dads out there who are struggling to
Sure.
feed their kids when they're not in school.
Well,
and they'll come to the Salvation Army through our food pantry. So you can get involved that way as well.
That's a great idea, too. We've got something for everybody. Hugh, Jeff, Salvation Army, love y'all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.